Biggles, I'm still drugged up, so intro's yours.
I don't have anything ready for an intro, sorry. You're going to have to go for it. Okay,
Okay.
we are live at the moment anyway, so we'll have to go for it. Of course, we'll have to be going for the free practice session. Welcome along, everybody. Racing Statistics is back. You guys are back. We're back. Mr. Feral and Biggles is back in the casting box here for the free practice session 2. Now, it will be a little bit delayed because currently at the moment there's a red flag in the F2 qualifying session, which has just been turned into a green flag, so a little bit of a delay. There was just one of the cars that had run off the track a little bit, and it was on the firing line of the racing line. Driver's okay, didn't bank it into the fence or anything, but their qualifying session's out, so it's going to be a battle of whether or not a couple of the drivers, the championship leader, or perhaps maybe somebody like my Australian Mick Doohan's son, I believe it is, will be able to steal that one away and get an Aussie on pole. But that's for the F2 qualifying, which we have to wait, obviously, for it to be done in about 3 minutes before we can get those F1 cars out for the second free practice session. How are you doing, Feral? I know you're not feeling the best with the wisdom teeth recently removed and a bit of painkillers.
Yeah, that was about 4 hours ago, when I had the tooth pulled, and slowly I'm getting a feeling back in my face. Like I can feel like about 75% of my lips again already, and that's quite well, as I am not drooling like an idiot anymore.
Yeah,
That thing
you're
is
not
with
talking like that. You know, like you feel like you're
yeah.
talking to your head.
Yeah, no, the other thing is, or the problem rather is with getting back a feeling throughout my lips and jaws is I can feel the pain now. So, yeah.
Oh, no pain, no gain, as they say, my friend. But trust me, if you don't get those wisdom tooth removed or the wisdom tooth removed, then you'll be a lot more pain later on. So get it done as early
Yeah,
as
I
you
know.
possibly can.
Problems started in the midst of summer break, pretty much the beginning of August. And it was like I got an infection and it was like, yeah, well, all right, I'm gonna call my dentist. I mean, he's a good dentist. He will be able to take care of that in no time. And he wasn't, as he went on holiday for like 4 weeks.
Usually
So
dentists or doctors go golfing or something like that, don't they? When you're in pain,
yeah, no,
but
he was in his family villa
ah,
estate on Sicilia, which is a very nice estate. Like my dentist is
yeah.
a friend of the family. I have been there myself. Beautiful mansion. So
Oh,
yeah,
there you have it.
I would
Well, I
I
hope you
would
feel better.
yeah, no, it's going good. Hit myself up with about like 2 pills of painkillers already, so gonna be
Bit of
fun.
Formula
Let's
One will
see
wake you up
what weird
on
yeah,
that,
no,
as long as you
let's
don't
see
go
what weird
operating in
things I'm
any
gonna be talking
machinery
about.
or driving. Yeah, g'day
No,
everybody in the chat. Now, that was a very exciting free practice one session, of course, with both of the Mercs right at the top of the timesheets. But what's more interesting is that was it a gearbox failure for Max Verstappen? Will I have that fix for him to come out for the free practice 2 or not? Do you want any information about that?
absolutely. Like that is no issue. I mean, I can change a gearbox myself on a DTM car in about 20 minutes. So if they have a team of mechanics for a Formula One car and they can't make it into 2 hours, they don't deserve a free practice 2 session. Like straight up. If you can't
Yeah.
make a gearbox change within 2 hours with a whole team of mechanics, you don't deserve to go out.
Now, they had broken a seal apparently before that to replace something and didn't get penalised, but now they have to replace something again. Will that end up being a penalty? Is anybody aware of that
No.
situation with that? No? Okay.
No. They won't get penalized as usually you want to have the freshest and least used gearbox in for a race. So what the Formula One teams usually do is they have all their gearboxes. I think it's 3 per season, and then there's 2 they try to split up for the races, and the third one they are using for free practice.
Excellent. Well, that's
So
true.
Now
So,
the free practice
breaking news,
gearbox
I
is
believe.
broken.
Are we looking? Are we looking at breaking news out there? Oscar is confirmed for McLaren in 2022, 3, and 24. As we're just watching at the moment, one of the qualifying sessions over anyway for the F for the F2s. But yeah, so it's a confirmation that, all right, Oscar gets the McLaren drive. And then the question obviously will be, where's Daniel going? And obviously, is Mick Schumacher going to resign with Haas, et cetera, in the silly season?
Well, as it looks, we won't see Ricciardo then, as Oscar Piastri is confirmed for McLaren. And there is the oh no, that isn't confirmed that Mick will go to Renault.
No, not
But
yet, not
if we
yet.
see
Only the
Mick,
Oscar.
yeah, but if we see Mick go to Renault, I don't think we will have a seat for Ricciardo.
Yeah, he might
As
take a year off, or maybe, which I'm hearing in the room, is a possibility of going IndyCar, but that's just not confirmed yet.
yeah, I mean, would make it would kind of make sense to get Ricciardo back into that Alpine seat or formerly Renault seat, but
He
eh,
kind of burnt his bridges with the teams a lot. That's the problem, isn't it? In the past, I'm not quite sure why. He's who he's managed by. He's not managed by Mark Webber. Oscar's managed by Mark Webber, but he's burnt his bridges with Red Bull, unfortunately, by leaving them without very late notice. He's left Renault kind of a very late, did let him know that he's left Renault. He's now been forced out of McLaren on a big contract. He's still going to get paid about $23 million in his pocket. So, unfortunately, as we love Daniel, if he's smiling and everything, he's burning his bridges with these teams where they're not going to accept him back. I don't know. I don't think.
I
He's
I
just,
don't think
yeah.
there's an issue with Alpine though. To be honest, like
He
Alpine
hasn't been an
wasn't.
Alpine, so that could be something. Yeah.
Yeah, Alpine is basically
Well,
just
it's Renault, so
Renault
you're
in
right.
blue. So
Yeah, you're right.
like but there wasn't like he went without burning bridges there basically. Like they lured him out of Red Bull with high promises of yeah, you know, the Renault engine and everything.
And
And
money, and money.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they just weren't able to keep up all of their promises. And Danny did what everyone would do in the situation and got himself another seat.
Yeah, and he's still a quick driver, experienced driver as well too on the grid, so which is something that teams always like to have. But anyway, that's the the Dutch GP Formula 2 qualifying is over, and the free practice will be starting the session. Beautiful conditions. It seems like at least what we saw from from the Formula 2 qualifying. So sunshine. Really, we should be hanging down the beaches here in the Netherlands, but we'll go trackside for now and enjoy the 50,000 screaming Dutch Orange Army
Well,
fans
you
out here
can
to
do that.
support.
But you know, I have this no advertisement here, but I have this great data contract here, so I can use free data basically wherever I want in the EU. So you go trackside into the heat, I will stay right here at the beach and just watch it on my phone.
So everybody, it's tradition that we usually do. G'day, say hello where you are from around the world. Jose's back in there. G'day, Jose Martinez. It's good to see you back hanging out there. I believe you were hanging out with Feral there for the practice session 1 and all the racing that we had last week, of course, in Spa, which is obviously great news to hear that Spa will be back on the calendar again next year. That was something that a lot of the drivers were very keen on making sure it did stay and it did stick, and they're going to improve the audience levels as well too to try boost those numbers for the future rounds.
Sorry, I was not with you right there.
That's fine.
You were asking me something about something.
Yeah, just about Spa being back for another season.
Ah, yeah, no, that is
Yeah.
my absolute highlight, and
Yeah,
I will
and we have
definitely kill the whole team here if I don't get to comment that race next season.
you will, no doubt. And we have somebody from South Africa out there. G'day, Pat. That's interesting because we're hoping, and still fingers crossed, if South Africa will be on the grid next season. That's still being debated, of course, because they're going to limit it to the amount of races. They can't increase anymore. The teams are just like, we can't handle it. Logistics costs are going up through the roof because of inflation. So they're trying to minimize that. They've got to actually axe a track to get South Africa in. I know a lot of people want the South African GP back. They've decided to get Spa. They're going to have to axe something. We know that the French GP's been axed in Paul Ricard, but they're trying to bring it somewhere else. There's a lot of ifs and buts around there as to what track is going to go in order to make room for the potential new tracks, of course, that we're talking about. Now that Spa's locked in, we know that's one.
Yeah, you know, with the
Was
amount
Monaco
of tracks.
confirmed? I don't think Monaco's been confirmed yet. So that's an interesting one. And
Yeah, now with the amount of tracks we are having meanwhile and the amount of good tracks we are having right now, there is no other choice than start rotating them.
Yeah, you're right. It must rotate. Just as they used to do in the European Grand Prix. Remember back in the day? They used to rotate the European Grand Prix between the tracks. So it wasn't always the same track over and over again. We had Baku was one of the European. Was Baku in the European GP? I'm not quite. Yeah, I think it was at one point called one of the European GPs. We've had multiple tracks. We've had the like couple of German tracks being the European GP. We had Spanish track. I believe Valencia used to be one of the European GPs. I don't know. That's one of the things, isn't it? They're going to have to rotate something around there to make it work. But when you've
Yeah,
got
I mean,
South Africa, that's a different ballgame, of course, because you got to. That's logistically having to fly there, which means they have to plan those cargo vessels, the shipping vessels, to go there months in advance, and you have no other GP in Africa, so that is
yeah,
a trip
but
completely out
also
of its way.
just so that is absolutely sad. Like in my personal opinion, Formula One considers itself a world championship, and I think as a world championship, every continent that can provide a track needs to get at least one race in.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, and that could be a. I don't know
So
how you're going to do it. Fly down. Fly probably from the uh, the Arab countries across there. That's probably. I mean, you got to think about it logistically how they're going to plan it because logistic costs have increased tenfold, and that's what a lot of teams are worried about. That's the reason why they've increased the budget cap restrictions as well,
well,
because the
if
teams are
you
like
wanna
saying,
if
"Hey,
you
it's
wanna
costing
make
me
it
too
like
much."
really cost effective, basically you would do anything, any Arab track or around there, those middle, south, middle, or eastern tracks before the summer break. Then you throw everything in a container, put that on a ship, and then get the ship down to Cape Horn. That would be
Yeah,
the most like the cheapest and easiest way to get the things down there. Then you only got to fly everything around half of the world once.
they will work on that, no doubt. They're going to sit there and work on it. Actually, I was just watching something recently about the logistics, and apparently the shipping container, an average cost for a shipping container in Formula One in 2021 and 2020 was $1,733. In 22, it was sorry, in 2021 it was $5,000. In 2022, it was $10,000. And they're approximately guesstimating that it'll be about $18,000 for a shipping container in 2023. That's an 11 times increase in just a matter of 3 years. So you can imagine that's just for the shipping containers. That's not including the air freight and everything else. So that's all increasing into the budget, and they have to really start crunching some. Get those engineers, of course, that are running the teams to do the best mathematics and try to decide how it's going to be economically affordable for Formula One to travel around the world, as it should, as you mentioned.
Yeah, well, I think probably like the cost cap is something rather new, and it has been working fine so far. But apart from only the driver salaries, maybe one should exclude transportation costs as well, as they are not within the development budget.
Yeah, I
So
agree with
set
that for
set the whole
sure.
cost cap down by I don't know how many thousands or millions was basically calculated in there overall. Get the cost cap down by that, and then they can ship it for $14 billion if they feel like that. Get the whole logistics part out of there.
So yes, everybody, at the moment there is a delay in the free practice too. That's because there was a delay in the F2 qualifying earlier. They had a red flag session with about 3 minutes to go. So then they resumed it after about 3 minutes of a red flag delay, got the other 3 minutes done for the practice for the qualifying. And then, of course, they're back out there to clear the track and everything else like that to make sure it is ready for the Formula One practice session too. So just bear with us. It should only be a few more minutes. I'm not hearing anything from the live pitches or any race control information, so we can only provide you the information as you can get. But of course, the breaking news once
What I
again
can tell
that's
you
been
is that
mentioned is
free
about
practice
Oscar's
will start in
confirmed.
12 minutes.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much. Right on the cue. That's why nothing gets past Mr. Farrell, mate. So walking
Yeah,
Wikipedia of F1 knowledge. So yeah, once again, we can
absolutely
talk
not.
about Oscar's confirmed drive for the 2 years with McLaren. We're not sure the terms of those 2 years. Is it locked in for 2 years? Is there a buyout contract? That's all the things that we got to look at these days, of course, because Daniel Ricciardo was confirmed for 23. And in order for them to depart, Daniel, they had to buy his contract out, which is about a 20 something. I'd probably say it may be a little bit more discount, but I guarantee he's still going to have about 20 mil in his back pocket for that. But he's still have to
Yeah,
find a drive
so
for next season if he wants.
yeah, but also the best moderator this side of the Mississippi, Mr. Grash or Mrs. Grash Uriza, tells us that Alpine has apparently no clue who is there to replace Alonso. So this means, well, on one hand, they are thinking about Gasly to have an all-French driver lineup, but as far as I'm aware, Gasly and Ocon aren't exactly friends or anything in that direction. So there might be a good chance to have Daniel going back there, because I think the step up into Alpine for Mick Schumacher, eh, a bit that's a bit ambitious there.
Well, Mick Schumacher's tied with Ferrari, so that's the
Not
key.
anymore.
He's not tied with. I thought he was still tied
Nope.
with Ferrari because the Ferrari
Nope. By
engine's
the end
obviously in
of
the
this
Haas.
year, he is out of
Ah.
their umbrella, like,
Well, you know that
corporation
he wants
thing.
it, right? Obviously, he has to fill in his father's shoes. He has to go to Ferrari at some point. At the moment, Ferrari have locked in those two, Carlos Sainz, obviously, and Leclerc. So he's not going there anytime soon, but at least be in something that's perhaps powered by a Ferrari is going to help him used to that engine, even though it's still, it's a hand-me-down engine from Ferrari, but it's actually, I think it's the same spec engine, but either way, I still think it's probably a better bet to stay with Haas for another year or so, and you never know. Wait for something to open up. Formula One changes so quickly, doesn't it? You think Carlos Sainz might be locked in to Ferrari for a couple of years, and all of a sudden his performance could drop off the cliff, and then the team says, "Well, get ready to be like they did Daniel Ricciardo." And you never know. It's
Yeah,
Formula One;
no.
it changes year
As
to year.
as Mick Schumacher, as he is currently doing with Haas, I'd look for a change, and I would basically take whatever other seat I can get into.
That's the beauty of that. We don't have to worry about making those decisions, my friend. That's what those guys are paid
Yeah,
to
no,
do.
the thing is, he has been really underperforming at Haas, and I'm absolutely one of the victims of the Haas delusion syndrome. Like, I expect them to be on pole every single weekend, and every single weekend I wish for that. And most of those weekends, I'm even placing a bet on having the Haas in the top three after
Are you saying
qualifying.
Haas in the top three? Oh, top three at qualifying. I was your top three of a race. I'm like, okay, now you're dreaming,
No,
my
no, no.
friend. Now that
Also top
those
three of
drugs
the
are
race.
wearing
Like,
off right now.
this is the Haas delusion syndrome.
Yeah,
I
okay.
I know they're not as good, but I want them to be, and I really believe in that. The thing is, realistically, they're not. And even if they were or not, whatever, Mick has been underperforming by a lot, and his seat there is under threat.
True.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of Top Guns coming through, aren't they? Like, I mean, obviously, you have
exactly.
Oscar. You have a lot of these F2
So,
champions that from this season are going to be ready out of the gate for next season. You've got a
yes.
couple of those guys in Indy that are looking for seats. They're all like that. Haas wants an American driver as well, especially with all the new, the circuits, the 3 tracks now in the United States of America that we're going to have with Las Vegas next year. It's a market, and the US is calling out for a US driver. Unfortunately, they're not going to get a US team as much as you know. Well, what's his name wanted to have the Andretti wanted to have his team in there. It was a big block from Toto and a few of the other big teams because they did want to split that. Remember, there's a prize pool of money at the end of the season, which goes to all the teams. Now, if you add an 11th team, that means your slice of the pie is reduced for every one of those existing teams. And most of them these days are not happy with having that.
Of course, they're
So,
not happy with
yeah.
having that, but I think
I mean, we want to
this is
see it, but
just
it's up to
this is
them.
one of the decisions that shouldn't be up to the teams.
That's true. I agree. But then
Like,
again,
I
they're the ones
think,
that also are receiving money, so it is an iffy situation. You got to say to them, you're gonna earn, maybe $20 million less, depending on what place you come in. But money's money. Every little penny helps. Apparently, I could be boosted a little bit if you really want to boost my voice. Help you
yeah, of
well.
course, no, but I think if a team is there and is like, I want to enter Formula One and I can afford all the licenses, and here is a car that is conformative with the regulations we're having. I think there
I
is
agree.
no other options
I agree. I agree. That's
to
the problem. We don't
say
make the
than,
decisions.
well, there you go. You're team
Yeah.
number 11, team number
Yeah.
12, 13. I don't know. Maybe
It's been a
some.
while, but can anybody remember the year specifically we had 22 cars on the grid? You got to go back to Minardi days and Arrows. They didn't last very long, unfortunately, but hey, that is what it is. Yeah, blocked as a European. Yeah, but I kind of agree with that out there, mate. But that's the thing too. But what's happening is that it's a roll. Once again, 3 races in the United States of America, a record that we can have next year. It's inevitable. It's a 300 million population that loving motorsports and really getting into F1. at some point, these teams, even in the F1 Media Liberty Group and FIA, have to back down and start to accept more of what we just mentioned. Start to thinking about allowing an full American team in the grid. All sorts of jazz. We are delayed at the moment, about 5 minutes less because of the practice. So the F2 qualifying being delayed a little bit. So bear with us on that. We're just babbling a little bit of information about F1 for everybody out there. You guys throw all those questions out to us, please. Feral and I, Biggles, are here to chit chat with you guys. We're just filling in the time, of course, for the practice session.
Yeah, absolutely.
No right or wrong.
While
Is there,
we
mate?
are filling in the time, an important thing, help out the channel, like the stream, subscribe to us, and these are both very helpful ways for us. If you hit that little bell to get notified when we are live, which we are doing for every single Formula One session there is and there ever will be, probably. Another great way to support us and what we are doing is to just copy that link to that stream and send it to other people. Send it into a WhatsApp group or whatever. This is the way to go and push an algorithm at the moment.
And what do you guys out there feel? Are we looking at another surprisingly Mercedes practice? I'll get practice and qualifying all messed up again, but practice session 2 domination on the top of the timesheets? Or not? That's a question. Because Max wasn't really competitive to be there in that last free practice because he had the gearbox issue. So he wasn't there to maybe split it up or steal the top time away. So that's a question for you, Mr. Farrell. That's a question for everybody out in the chat, though. Who are you guys thinking could be the top of the timesheets for free practice 2?
Yeah, it's going to be a Red Bull. Like, if you have seen how Max flew past the field back in Spa, I personally think they have let's say a very overdone engine in there, like the how was it called? The Barcelona spec or the Brazil spec of Mercedes last year, where they just like really like got onto the maximum power on an engine that will just last only a few races then. But I mean, let's be honest, if you have an engine like that and you are able to overtake the field, why not take the penalties? Like, if I know I can start at 20th and then be first by lap 12 with an engine like that, why not do this every race? So no, it's gonna be a Red Bull here. Max Verstappen topping it out, probably followed. McLaren has looked quite solid throughout the free practice one. Of course, Ferrari will be up there. Maybe we'll see one or another surprise with Alpine. Maybe Alonso or Ocon sneaking somewhere into the top of the timesheets. But yeah, nah, number one, it's gotta be Max. Like with the car and the engine he's currently having, it's inevitable. I don't know if this is a good thing towards the end of the season. On the other hand, eh,
End of the season. We're already halfway through.
yeah. You know, if Max can fix the title, why continue, basically? So if he has just the ultimate beast of an engine now to get those last few victories or points he needs to get that second World Drivers' Champions title, why not do it? Why not just overdo the engine and then take a few penalties and just cruise at the back of the field for the rest of the season?
Some tracks that'll work with, my friend. Some tracks it won't. So I guess they crunched those numbers there at the Red Bull factory and said, hey, if we're going to risk it on this one, we'll risk it. It worked brilliantly for them. So, yeah, you couldn't have imagined a better way. We're going to get the audio levels sorted out in a minute. And thankfully, we do have a bit of a delayed free practice too. So get that sorted. So just bear with us in a minute. We'll try to get the levels on par as much as possible. Previous winners, of course, for this Dutch GP that has been off the grid for some years and, of course, brought back recently because of the Max Verstappen insurge of Dutch fans. This used to be one of those European Grand Prix as well. It has been the European Grand Prix twice in 1962 and 1976. So once again, we were talking before about we're going to have to at some point probably because there's so many GPs now wanting to put GPs on, switch between different tracks across Europe for a European GP and rotate between them every year. I'm sure they'll be let the guys who get paid the big bucks make all those decisions, mate. We'll just cast whatever they give us.
Yeah. Well, I have seen some about going off about this season being boring and not being a fan of a particular driver, just a fan of good racing, which I can absolutely feel. But I think this season so far has been an absolute banger. You just have to watch the midfield. Like, yeah, Red Bull is off. It's like basically they are probably constructors champion, they are drivers champion. That's done and dusted. But what is happening in the whole midfield thing, it's great. And I think next season that's gonna be a delight as well. Especially just from the fact that Ferrari has a very powerful engine, and you're not allowed to upgrade your engine anymore, except for reliability parts.
True,
So
and
if
and they're gonna just be obviously with the whole new engine changes in the future going to the biofuels and eco-friendly and all that jazz. So that's something they're going to be working on probably already now. It's going to take them a few years to get that right. Car manufacturers, engine manufacturers have been wanting that for years now. So that's something that will use that research and that money in that technology to convert into their road cars, which makes those teams, the major manufacturing teams, even more beneficial for the Formula One and hurts the other teams, of course, that don't manufacture their own engines and have to just use whatever. But that's just another topic in itself. And the question I believe that somebody, as Bob was asking there, do you think we should have more classics signed for 10 years? I agree we should have classics signed, but 10 years is a lot. In these days of way Formula One's changing, and the way F1 Media Liberty Group is trying to adapt different races around the world, I wouldn't say a 10-year sign up. I'd say probably a 2 to 3 year deal at a time, and then just pen it out from that. That's my opinion, of course, and everybody else has their opinion. And
mm, mm,
it
I
took
mean,
8 years to
you're
build a car
allowed to
better than
have
a
a wrong
Mac.
opinion. That's fine.
Of
I
course.
don't judge you on your wrong opinions. Um,
Yeah, that's just my
yeah, no,
opinion.
I
That's
think
what
I think that's fine. But like, really, what I don't know. I have seen that in a video explaining different
Oh, by the way,
fictional
sorry,
or
I didn't realize the
possible.
practice session is underway. So apologies about that. Go ahead, mate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there is nothing happening so far. I mean, Stroll put his outlap to an end this moment. So
I completely
yeah,
got
no.
caught sleeping on that. I
Basically,
didn't realize.
what I personally would really want, like in free practice one, we have quickly talked a little bit about success ballast. So for every point in the championship you make, you get 1 kilogram of weight added to your car. That would be quite fun. On the other hand, to really see who is like the best driver and who has built the best car, I think it would be way cooler if every driver would drive every car or always a different car for every race.
Hmm.
So basically Hamilton would drive a Red Bull, he would drive Aston Martin, Alpine, he would drive like basically every team has to have Hamilton for a weekend, which also means every team has Verstappen for a weekend. Every team has Mick Schumacher for a weekend. So every driver has driven every car throughout the season at least once. And this would really show us who is the best driver, not just a good driver with the best car. And it would also
Yeah.
show us who has built the best car and not just who has a good driver in their
Well, I
car.
agree. I agree with you on that, but that's the reason why they have F3 and F2 for that very purpose. They're very similar cars, very similar specs and everything, and then it's a man versus machine. Once you go to F1, it then becomes the powerhouse of the major teams and stuff like that. So that's what they've already done that, but that's why you have those junior categories. I'm not quite sure I agree with you having to do the same thing again in F1. F1's got to be the pinnacle. It has to be the best. It has to have teams that out
Yeah,
engineer other
absolutely. No, I
teams.
see I see realistically why this will never happen, like with the sponsors and the contracts and everything that is in place there. No chance. Won't happen. Will never happen. I'm absolutely aware of that, but it is kind of a concept I like to fiddle around with.
Well, IndyCar, as Bubba said, and I've been doing a lot of IndyCar casting as well too for esports, and I really enjoy it because of the fact that they are very, very similar. Max Verstappen now absolutely on a fly. Expect to see him on the top of the timesheets to remind everybody that hey, gearbox broken or not, here in my home country, in front of my Dutch army, I'm going to prove to you how quick I could be to set the fastest first lap. There it is, on 13.4.
Nice. I don't know. I'm actually surprised that we still have visibility. I imagined there way more orange
you,
flares.
you mean the flares? Okay, to explain to everybody about the flare situation as well. So you saw it in Belgium, you see it in other tracks where there's a lot of the Dutch army. They are allowed to use the flares during the formation lap and obviously the end of the race. They're not allowed to use the flares during any of the races or practices or anything like that. If they are, somebody's banned. They have security in there immediately to go pick somebody up with that flare, take him out there, put the flare out. Did happen in Spa, so he did light a flare during the race or something like that. I think it was one of the first couple laps. They got the flare immediately and they put it out. But that's the rules. They say you can use those flares, but only during the formation lap and only at the end. Can't do it during the race. That's the fairness. They have security guards out there in the audience ready to snatch those flares away and also kick the person out. So I wouldn't risk it. You paid all that money to come into a Formula One race to watch it. Don't want to risk lighting a flare and be kicked out. So that's for the rules anyway.
Yeah, also, I would have paid, like hypothetically, a lot of money to go there and watch the race, so I don't want to see orange smoke popped from like 5 flares ahead of me and miss the
Yeah.
race.
That's thankfully
So
only during the practice, only during the formation lap, of course. That's and maybe just before that when there's no cars on the track. But that's it.
yeah,
That's
well,
how allowed
I think that's
it goes.
quite a good
Yeah,
solution, as it really
yeah.
does add to the atmosphere.
As long
Um,
as everybody pays, yes, that's why they have the security there to get rid of anybody that. And you're always going to have somebody that spoils it. That's the problem. But
yeah,
thankfully, once again, the security get that flare, shark it in a barrel of water, a tub of water, and bucket of water, and then that's it, and kick the person out. So everybody's well aware. Use those flares. Get the orange, especially around here too, mate. You've seen what happens when Max Verstappen's on the top step of the podium. It's just a haze of orange.
yeah, and I have seen it on some perspective. It's really it almost looks like, I don't know, one of the McLarens just disintegrated into orange dust or something.
Daniel Ricciardo's struggling a
um,
little bit there too, just getting the car off there and kicking up a bit of dust, a few
yeah,
sparks.
had a little bit of a wiggle with his rear tires there.
Imagine Max Verstappen in a orange McLaren. Obviously, if it was as quick as the Red Bull, oh shit, that would be just the ultimate, wouldn't it? A Dutch driver in the orange car. I mean, you never know; it might happen in the future. Red Bull might not be the powerhouse, and when the new engine changes come around, and Max Verstappen's still in the is still racing and repetitively still continuing to be quick, he could end up being in a McLaren and keep everything orange. Who knows? That's the future. This is the
Yeah,
now.
I think I just what I kind of dislike about the flares is that there's just orange flares. I think, like, I don't know, I'd be quite happy to see some red flares for the Ferraris
They
as
had a lot of
well.
red flares back in the day, mate. In the Ferrari era, you used to see them. They used to let off those flares on the podium celebrations in Monza a lot.
Yeah, sure. You used to see them back in the day, but I'm talking about now. And I would want to, like, have, if it is really regulated with do not use them during the race and blah blah blah. Like, I think they really make for quite a nice atmosphere. And I would just love to see, more colors for the different teams.
That's true. What do you guys think? Your opinion, obviously, about the flares or not? I mean, I think we do love it. Lando Norris is out on track at the moment. Charles Leclerc is on track, putting good times. I want to see a Williams surprise there from Alex Albon. We were really surprised about that in Spa. And at the moment, he's got a couple of mini purple sectors and greens. So this could be something to look out to for the Williams driver that's really been impressing all of us, I'd have to say, this season.
Yeah. Oh, also, good question. Curious what you think about that. How many letters of Ferrari plans will we hear this Sunday?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
How many letters of the alphabet will we see in Ferrari plans this weekend? Like, will it be a plan A,
Oh,
B,
I got it.
D, D, E, F? Will we go to a plan E again? Maybe a G? I think G has been the furthest. Maybe we will see plan H or I.
Q to Z, Bob said. Yeah. Let's start from a Z and go up. You just got to randomize it anyway, so the other teams don't know. They won't use numbers, of course, because you can get confused with pit stops on that one.
Yeah, I think Q to Z is a little bit ambitious. I don't think we'll see it escalate that far.
Hang on,
Double
somebody's saying,
C.
do you guys feel that Alex's engine's different than Latifi's? I'm not sure if Williams, usually in a press statement, they will say whether or not they are using a different spec engine between the drivers. They won't deliberately do it without the drivers knowing, of course, but they will do that sometimes. If they have only one new spec engine, they will try it on one of the drivers and announce that. But I haven't heard anything. If anybody is aware of that, please. And trust me, these guys, you guys out there in racing statistics, guys and girls, you know your F1 statistics. So I'm pretty sure most everybody here's done their homework and will let us know.
Yeah. So Biggles, another question. More on the technical side. Is your data channel and driver tracker also offline?
Yeah, my dingo's eating the cable again, chewing on it
Nah,
again. I had to shoo
shit.
him
All
away.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I should not bring him into the casting box every time we go to these tracks. He's supposed
Yeah.
to be a good boy, but he misbehaves. But yeah, so everything's a little broken at the moment because of my dingo. Shoo him away. At
Yeah.
least we
Now
don't have
you know I
electricity. We do have electricity, so we're not in a Monaco-esque situation.
absolutely. You know the good thing is I can always be sure that it has never been my cat because Lord Cattington doesn't have teeth.
Lord Cattington doesn't have what? Doesn't have teeth?
Yeah.
So I apologise with us at the moment. Lord Cattington hasn't done anything wrong. My koalas are too grumpy, mate. Sorry, I don't know how to have a koala as a pet. They look like they cuddle until they get grumpy at you and swipe you. Their
Yeah,
big
yeah. Nah,
claws.
you thought you would get koalas, but I'm fairly sure whoever sold you those, he was he was cheating you with those. You were, I don't know, pulled over, you were tricked. I'm fairly sure they are drop bears you got sold there.
No,
That might
no, thank
explain
you.
all the problems you're having.
I probably wouldn't be around today to even speak about the fact that I had a drop bear one time. Wombat would be nice, a cute, furry little marsupial wombat. They get a little grumpy too sometimes, but they're cute little pets. Well, I don't think it's legal to have them as a pet, but don't tell the authorities. Okay, so pictures wise that we can only give you. So we're going to turn into radio operators here this evening and try to give you as much information as possible without the stats. However, pulling a Red Bull into the garage right now. I think a lot of the cars are actually heading back into the garage. Only Hamilton's on an outlap, trying to see who else is on it. They're focusing on the Orange Army in the crowd at the moment. And a beautiful day here in the Netherlands. Everybody's in flip flops and shirts,
Yeah,
hats, of course. Wear your hat.
Orange Army seems a little bit unfortunate to call it. I don't know. They just don't look really ready to fight, and they're all a little bit fat to be in an army. But it's nice to have them there. So, seems like the damn dingo also chewed his microphone cable. So, guess you are stuck with me for now. But I am sure he will, like Biggles, will be right back any minute. So, Kevin, beautiful day here in Toronto. I'm in my underwear. Nice. Me too. Best casting is done in underwear.
Of course.
Ah, there,
Always.
there you are back. And
Carlos Sainz is back at the top of the timesheets, my friend. So there's the
yeah,
Ferrari up there.
and
Thank you very much.
Jazam
Yeah.
is donating 7 AED. Is this Australian?
No, it's you've never been
No,
to
that
Abu
would be
Dhabi before, have you?
AUD. What?
You never been? You never been to United Arab Emirates? I believe that's what
Nope.
that currency is. Am I
Generally, I
corrected on that one?
haven't.
AED? I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, soon. I have lived in Dubai for about 6 months, and I can't remember I was using that currency. Just confirm it for us,
Oh,
please, at least.
well, nice. Anyway, wherever it's coming from, thank you very much for that.
We can't fix a map at the moment, guys, because we don't have any of the data. It's all broken, so we're only seeing
Yeah,
what you're seeing. All we have
goddamn
is
bingo.
pictures. All we have. And as you know on F1 TV, they don't give us all that telemetry information very often. All they tell us is that there's the current gaps between the cars, and that's it. They don't tell us what tires are on. They don't tell us what. Sometimes they might have a little overlay. You've all seen an F1 GP race at some point in the past and the future, and those sector times they'll throw up whenever the graphic producer decides to show that. And unfortunately, we might this evening, as the camera's going to Toto Wolff, we might this evening have to end the stream a little earlier because our fantastic producer that puts on all the show behind us and Racing Statistics has a little bit of a emergency situation that has to take care of course, and might have to end the stream a little earlier. So apologies about that. But hey, streaming all the races all season long, including all the free practice sessions and the qualifying and everything like that, is just a monstrous effort. And we can't thank him enough for doing that, can we, Farrell?
Absolutely not.
He gets a few, a little break every once in a while. So we'll give him permission to leave. Well, he has to anyway because he's controlling the pitches. So
Yeah, I think I don't know. First time since I'm with a team that it actually might cut.
I got the right currency. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the
Wow.
74.99
Yeah.
donation. What to do the mathematics on either way? Any donation is a good donation. It doesn't matter how much it is. Just to confirm that I was correct with that. I should have remembered that because I was thinking I did live in Dubai for about 6 months. I only
Yeah.
went to Abu Dhabi in the airport. I never got a chance to go to Ferrari World or the F1 track at the time. So,
That's unfortunate.
uh,
But just really quick, I wanna make something that will annoy all of you, but I got to do it for King Choose Fitness, and just remind you that Rosberg has actually beaten Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery. In case you didn't know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, King Chu is just making like 10 crunches, 10 push-ups whenever he hears that joke. It's not particularly funny. I am absolutely aware of that, but he told me last weekend that he has been slacking behind, so there we go. Whenever you feel like King Chu should do more workouts, just make this joke.
Yeah, and I was actually watching some of the earlier races the other day, just a little bit of a history rewind, the recaps of the seasons and back in the 2008, 7s and 8s and all that 9s and stuff. And when McLaren had those Mercedes engines, man, they blew up a lot. I honestly had forgotten how much when that's why McLaren weren't performing very well during those years because they had the Mercedes powered engines and they would just always pop and smoke at least one driver per race. And it's amazing how it switched through, hasn't it? So now, when McLaren obviously formed their own works team, eventually they started to get it right. I remember Lewis Hamilton did struggle, and Nico Rosberg did struggle. Actually, before Nico, Mick Schumacher, Michael Schumacher struggled a little bit in the first couple of years as a Mercedes works team, and then they got their act together with the hybrid era, and then started dominating. But people do forget that they did blow up a lot when they first re-entered Formula One again. Teething issues you have to go through as an engine manufacturer. And no doubt, obviously, with Audi being confirmed for Formula One, probably will go through those same situations early. So I don't expect a new engine manufacturer to come into Formula One immediately and start just dominating people. They will go through those hiccups, I doubt, and eventually sort them out. It could be one of the top manufacturers. But we still have to wait a few more years for that. As Ferrell's gone somewhere.
Yeah,
He's going
no,
about.
I
Yeah.
am still here. Just trying to find a solution that we could probably keep the stream going and don't have to cut short. As you know, free practice 2 is kind of the most interesting of all the practice sessions.
Well, it's the endurance run practice sessions, I believe, because you see generally in free practice 3 they start getting ready for the qualifying setups, the runs after. This is the one where they do the endurance, so it's kind of get an idea, which is difficult for us because without that data, we can't get an idea of how many laps that they're running on the tires that they're running
Yeah,
and
really,
all that
really
jazz.
waiting for the data channels to come back online.
Bob was asking about what do I think about stopping the 11th, 12th team on the grid. I don't like it. I would like to see more cars on the grid, but it's the teams that are blocking it. So yeah, I have nothing to do with that unless I can borrow some money from Bernie Eccleston or whatever and rebuy Formula One back from the F1 Media Liberty Group. Then I can make those decisions for you guys out there. But for now, we're at the mercy of whatever the F1 Media Liberty Group and the teams decide. But personally, I would like to see another team on the grid, if not 2 more teams. Exactly. I mean, you guys think that as well, I believe. And so I don't find too many people out there as fans of Formula One that don't want to see more cars on the grid.
Well, as I said, like I think everything up to let's say 30 cars on the grid should be manageable.
Yeah, can anybody, and obviously you guys know your racing statistics. What was the largest grid in the Formula One ever? What year was it? The most amount of cars that had in Formula One? Somebody let us know that, please. I just saw a massive crane hanging over one parts of the track. I can't remember which corner that was, but I'm not quite sure if there was a camera guy in that crane or no, that was a crane ready to lift a car up, like those cranes that they have around Monte Carlo.
Yeah, you know, it's basically a warning sign. It's like the Damocles sword hanging over the track to be like, yeah, you know, if you screw the pooch there, like I am ready.
You got to love those guys that get craned up there for the cameras, and there's a few of them around the track, of course. Because
Yeah,
you better make sure that you've got food in your belly and that you've had your bathroom break too, mate. Because they're not going to be lowering that crane down anytime during a race just so you can pop to a bathroom. You're stuck up there for the whole time, and if it obviously gets delayed with a safety car and all that sort of stuff, you could be up there for a maximum of about 2 hours, all by
yeah,
yourself
no,
with the
I
camera.
have been doing some work as a follow spot operator, which is basically like a camera operator, but I shine a light onto whatever is beneath me. So yeah, that was it's quite cool actually to be up there. I'm a little bit scared of heights actually, but once you are up there, even if you're scared of heights, it is amazing. You're just over everything, can see whatever you want. It's beautiful. It's like if I were a camera operator, I would want to be somewhere up there.
Just reading through, yeah, you're right. Just reading through all the chat there because everybody's answering that question about the maximum amount of cars that we've had in Formula One. So it's back to the pre-quali levels. 26 was max, but 30 fighting for a starting slot. That's right. There was too because they had that qualifying limit. You had to be within 5 seconds or something like that. That happened but there wasn't very many teams that didn't make that. I'm trying to see what the maximum was. I believe it's 25. Somebody say 26. It's 24 to 26 around at the moment. Somebody's saying in F1 1982, 36 cars fighting for a starting slot, Bob would say. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, well, it's gotta be solved by you. You know, you're always marketing me as this walk-in library of Formula One knowledge when you exactly know that I am not.
I don't know the answer to that question. That's why I'm asking
I
everybody.
am
You're the engineer in my friend. You
yes,
get talk
I'm the
technical about all the
engineer.
cars.
If a car goes off track or it just explodes, I can tell you why. You know, but I can't tell you how many, I don't know, ducks have been sucked in by the cooling of a Formula One car in 1957 or something. Who would know that?
You would. Anyway, thank you very much, Hasim,
Oh,
for
wow,
the
that
donation
is,
again. And that's yeah.
yeah,
And you have yourself a nice weekend. We'll see you in qualifying. He's going for Max. Absolutely. Well, on you, mate. And thank you very much for the donation. Of course, helps everything go all the way here at Racing Statistics. So you get to listen
absolutely.
to both myself and Farrell, and of course the other fantastic broadcasting team here. Basically, just talk about what some we do know and what we don't know about Formula One. And you guys are the ones that are sharp to remind us of what's going on. Once again, the pitches are frozen. The actual timing table is working, but the track map is not. We don't have some of this data as well, so we're just as blind as you guys are. But the timing table is correct. Carlos Sainz is the fastest over Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, and there's cars out on the track. We're just looking at pictures, trying to give you that information as best we possibly can.
Absolutely. And there we go. Thank you very much, Jose, as well. Yeah, no, I think something's broken. I mean, I see Mick Schumacher in P4 there. So something has to be broken.
No, he's currently the fourth fastest time. Well, he's in the fifth fastest time. I'm looking at 1.2 seconds.
Yeah,
As
Alonso
Ocon
just
goes up
jumped
into
there.
P4, I believe. Right there, yeah, confirmed. And these are just looks like obviously there looks like that you can see the laps actually in the lap counter. So they're putting in a lot of laps. They're putting in racing lap conditions right now. Heavy fuel loads, testing the tires. Could be using scrub tires. Could be using new tires. We have no idea. We just know that they're doing long runs out there over and over again. We still have at least 34 minutes of practice session to go.
Yeah, Williams, at least, sure are getting the laps in, as they say on Twitter. Apart from that, not very much. Let's see.
Lance Stroll up at a P4. That's it. We've seen a very impressive Aston Martins and Alpines actually during practice sessions. Of course, it comes a little different to race day, and qualifying, but it is what it is. Lando Norris in the pit lane at the moment with the pitches, getting ready to go out. He's currently in P11. Daniel Ricciardo, P17, struggling again, but once again, we don't know what they're doing. Just expect generally what they do, don't they, Farrell, towards the end of a practice session. Just a little bit of a show off, I think, for the teams and for the fans. They'd lightly fuel the car, put some maybe slightly scrub tires on there, and do a little bit of a semi-qualifying lap, just to add a little bit of psychological games, I think, to the other team, so that they go, "Wow, would you pull that time out of?"
Yeah,
Even though they know,
everybody's saying this, but it is absolutely not. It is a direct comparison. Like, if I go around with a Red Bull as fast as I can, and then I see the Ferrari is going around the track faster than I am, this has nothing to do with psychological warfare, because everybody knows that it is about nothing. Like, free practice doesn't give you nothing on the board. It's only
That's
about
the
the
reason
data.
why it's called practice. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Hazim, again, thank you very much. And that one, because you did another fantastic donation, you have to keep donating, mate. We appreciate everything you've already given us. But thank you.
Yeah, that is
and that goes to Farrell to pronounce what he just said in, I believe in your language. So yeah, go ahead, Farrell. You have to give that one a shot.
that is absolutely not German. So how is
Doesn't
that
matter. You
my
can try and
language?
pronounce it for Farrell. Jazz, I'm sorry for
Masalama
Jazzy.
Mia Pandora? Masalama?
Give him a grade on that
Is
one.
that H like this or what?
Oh yeah, but Arabic is
Masalama
it's an
Mia
awesome
Pandora.
language. Very difficult to master, but it's a beautiful language. And you should, you tried it, and he'll give you a thumbs up or not, I guess, to see how well you did it. Give him a grade out of 10 on that one, mate. It's worth it.
Yes, please. Like, give me a 10 out of 10, or say nothing.
I do miss it. I do have to head back to, I don't know wherever it's. I enjoyed living there for 6 months. So much to see now too as well. But seeing at the moment cars on the track with 32 minutes left to qualifying, watching a Mercedes, I think that is of George Russell going around. Once again, we are limited on what we can see for telemetry to provide you. So all we can do is pictures. That does look like, that's George Russell. That's Lewis Hamilton, of course, I forgot. He has the yellow, fluorescent yellow on the top of the T-cam with his yellow helmet.
Only he's also the one with the fluorescent winglets over the front tires, the fluorescent yellow helmet, and the bright number 44 there on the car.
Oh yeah, we're looking at the wow, where the porpoising effect. At the rear wing at the moment, where the side end plates are. That thing is bouncing around, scrubbing. It has a little, like, what do you call it, support arm that connects to it. That was just so the pictures are slow mo. That's really, really flexing, wasn't it? And sparking too on the edges of it. So that's something we don't see very often.
Yeah, looks like he is trying. I don't know. Looks like it kind of looks like Mercedes is trying to reproduce the tricks I suspect Red Bull were using to get a little bit more stability into their car and the whole underfloor aerodynamics stuff.
They're playing catch up, of
So,
course, this season, and so far from that free practice session, they had 1 and 2, and at the
yeah,
moment they're 2 and 3. So Mercedes, whatever they're bringing here to Zandvoort, is working currently at the moment because they are very competitive times. We haven't seen the best out of everybody just yet. We'll see that, of course, for the qualifying free practice 3 and qualifying up tomorrow. But for now, whatever those upgrades that they bring are working. And Mercedes still have a lot of time here to catch up at the championship. You got to remember that we are only just over halfway through. So if Mercedes go on a rampage of winning every single race, or 1, 2s, or at least
yeah,
2 drivers on the
absolutely.
podium
Well,
from
I
now
gotta, I
on,
gotta,
they could. It's a possible.
quickly, just make a point there, as King Chu has been saying that the underfloor of the Mercedes is shaking as much as Alex last week, or just
Oh,
so we have him do some more push-up, it has been shaken as much as Lewis Hamilton when he learned that Rosberg beat him in equal machinery throughout the season.
you're going to remind everybody about that, won't you? Yeah, in
I
one out of how many were they together in one as race
I
partners?
have no idea, and like Rosberg was
Yeah, okay.
absolutely stomped by Hamilton every other
And
season.
mind you,
So
before that, Mark Webber beat Rosberg as well too when they were together at Williams, I believe. So you got to
yeah,
remember
so
Rosberg's had a
theoretically,
driver
since
beatdown from a lot of people.
yeah, no, absolutely. Also, shit joke isn't fun anymore, but I'm doing it all for King Juice health and fitness.
Hey, I got you for the language as well. Don't you worry.
Yeah, right. I need a button, especially
The
when I'm
beeps
like,
there are okay. Just blame the latency between you and me and YouTube on that one. Lando
okay,
Norris
yeah,
slowing on track at the moment. And is he going in the pit lane? Zach Brown looks a little concerned. What's happening with Lando?
no, but
He's not.
Hooked on Classic just came in. Hello there. Welcome on in. How is it going? So yeah, halfway through the session.
I got you, Jose. Yeah, you called the beeps, you get the beeps. Yeah,
Yeah, I
welcome
got.
everybody. Once again, apologize the track map's not working. It's frozen as our data is frozen. But to the left-hand side, that data, that timing tower is correct. So it may not be absolutely correct in updating the numbers correctly, but it's updating those positions. They are as they are. Daniel Ricciardo does slot up his way up further up into the
Yeah,
field because he was P19. Look, it's scary at one point there for Daniel Ricciardo, especially when, Lando Norris is up in a P4 currently at the moment for the timing table. And Dan Rick struggling to get to grips with the McLaren, knows it, but he's still going to put an absolute best effort in for the rest of the season, of course, because he's still signed with the team, still wants to win races. No, ain't one single driver out on this grid in Formula One that does not want to win a race, regardless of what your contract is next season. You're still going to want to win a race. It's going to help
I don't
you
know. I
for your
mean,
future at Formula One.
in interviews, every driver has said how his biggest dream is to become a World Drivers' Champion. Apart from Yuki Tsunoda, whose biggest dream actually is it to open a sushi restaurant.
And he will,
So
if he hasn't done it already. But he wants to win races. But I mean, that said, win races. They want to win a race. It's securing your future as well, because Danny Ricciardo is going to be looking for a team now. If he wins this
yeah,
race,
I'm
he's
gonna
gonna basically
quickly leave for
put
about
it
2
to.
minutes
All
as
right.
my scar just ripped open and I'm like spitting blood
Oh,
all over my desk.
oh yeah.
So
Please take care of yourself first, my friend. Don't you worry. We got you covered. Please, yeah. So just to let everybody know that Feral just had his wisdom tooth out basically about 4 or so hours ago. And so, as you guys know, in the past, if you've had your wisdom tooth out or not, it's not exactly very. It's a little painful, of course, after when the painkillers wear off, etc. And so he's got to take care of that. You don't want to be getting blood all over our casting booth, my friend. So gone to the medical center for a medical checkup. The Ferraris are on top of the timesheets right now. Meanwhile, all that was happening. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, but Ferraris have been A couple of drivers out on track. Track information, track maps not working. But you guys, thank you very much for tuning in and giving us the information you can give us. Ricardo has a little chance of getting into a F1 2023 seat. I mean, I just don't know. We're gonna have to end the stream, but guys, unfortunately, so thank you very much. Yeah, but it's emergencies and things to go up, family life. So, guys, check it out all later, of course. But tune in tomorrow for the free practice 3 and of course the qualifying in the race. So, thank you, everybody. Everybody, take care. We love you all. Thank you very much for those donations, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yeah, well, we're only ending in a couple of minutes, so I guess I'm just gonna look upwards while